Hello, everyone. It's hard to look at my computer and look at the camera at the same time. How is everyone? Can y'all hear me okay? And by the way, Michelle and Brittany, I made y'all mods. I didn't ask. I just made you mods. It's fairly easy, guys. It's fairly easy. I'm watching all the devices here to make sure it's working. Can y'all hear me? Okay, good. Great. Thank you. Oh, so I'm trying to get ready, and y'all know how chaotic it is here, anyways. And so I get this huge box in, thinking it's heavy. I forgot what I ordered. Y'all know these monster dogs. This is this giant, indestructible ball. Look how big that thing is. Like, bigger than my head. This might last a week. She ate her other one. It's like that much of it's left. We'll see. Raina will be happy. Raina has a new toy. Thank you, Brittany. I was going to leave my camera off and thought, nah, I'll just do it so I can sit on the couch. And I have the heating pad. I may grab that here in a second. Because good day so far. Hopefully it stays that way. But I thought, nah, I haven't been on camera in a while. So why not go and be on camera? Let's see. I'm going to try to put this up here. Let's see if I can not hit the camera too badly. Oh, and it does. Not like that. Let's do it this way. So I can see and like look. I feel like I'm looking down and all you see is the top of my head. My Stella! I haven't even said hello to everybody. So I know I have Brittany and I have Michelle, and Shalema's here, and Lori's here, and Stella. And y'all say hi to Stella. Stella is my old true crime partner when we were over on the other channel. So glad you're here, Stella. Thank you, Michelle. I wish I could remove this and put it in the office because everything is getting moved to the office soon. I mean, I have this really cool backdrop I'm going to use, but I love the fireplace, even though I can't use the stupid fireplace. I don't know if y'all seen that, but when we had the ice storm last year, we went and got firewood, and I'm all ready because we know we're going to lose power, and I couldn't use fireplace. it's not safe. It wouldn't do nothing. You can't. There's nothing for it to go out, and so it's just a pretty piece in the house that takes up room. So, is everybody having a good Tuesday? It is. It was ugly here this morning, and now it's pretty. It's Texas for you. It'll be hot here soon, I'm sure. Oh. Oh, is it nasty there, Stella? I think y'all are getting the storms we had the other day. I know my mom is in South Dakota, and she said they had snow yesterday, and it's high winds today. Can't with this weather. And then I had her on the phone. Matter of fact, she's still texting me. We're trying to find a rehab for my brother to go to that's closer to me instead of 2 hours away, and that's finding it's becoming very difficult without really good insurance. And we were able to get him some insurance, but we're still working on his Medicaid. It's just a nightmare, guys. Oh, Britt, you're still sick? That's not good. Everybody pray for Brittany. She's got to feel better. She's got to feel better. I have my hair clipped because I don't know if this hair is staying like this. I'm just saying. So I tell you what, this is what I'm going to do. If anybody would like to join me on panel, I don't mind. Hi, Gladys. Don't mind having anybody come up here and gabbing with me. This is a case that kind of grabbed my attention way back when it happened, and it's not that old of a case. It was in 2011. Hi, Thumb Thug. I don't ever tell you enough I love your name because I'd like to be a Thumb Thug. Keyboard warrior. Be my new nickname for you. So, and I don't know, Stella and I have talked about this case. Have any of y'all looked into or heard anything about Amber Hilberling, Amber and Josh Hilberling? Hilberling. Okay, Stella, click that link. Come on, honey. I miss you. My New York girl. Did you see the link, Stella? Okay, Brittany, you haven't done this one. Okay. Oh, and Michelle knows nothing about this case. Oh, please stop telling the thumb that it goes to her middle finger. That's great. Yeah. Well, we don't want the middle finger getting too go happy, you know? I mean, give Stella a few minutes to come join me. But this was this is one of those cases where I think, was it just two young people totally in love that would it have taken something drastic to make them even leave each other alone? You know what I mean? So Amber was 18, Josh was 21 when they met. Amber come from a broken home. They have stepdad is a plastic surgeon in Oklahoma. Excuse me. And okay, Stella's coming. And her mom had put a restraining order on her own dad at one point in their divorce, and the divorce took a really long time. It was very chaotic and I'm not going to try it. And Amber and her mom kind of fought through this time, and then she was a teenager. She's like 13, 14 years old. So there were some, and you remember those dynamics. Good God, teenage girls. Hi, Candy Kisses. And so there was just a lot of tension. And as time goes on, Amber had left. I think she lived with her grandmother. I don't remember exactly on that one. And I have a frog in my throat. And so at a party one night, she meets Josh. They become instantly head over heels in love with each other. She's from money. I think he's from some money. And it was very kind of chaotic, just kind of they were lovey-dovey one minute and yang, yang, yang the next. But you know how it is when you're young and how you kind of feed off each other and act ridiculous. And so he was getting ready to go into the military. He was going into the Air Force. To go with him, they had to be married. I mean, that's, if you want the military to pay for it, you have to be married. And I remember when my husband and I got married, I was 18. He was in the military. When we went to Germany, I was almost 20. I had a baby, and I'm going to tell you what, of course, that was before cell phones. We didn't even have cell phones, and it's super expensive to call. And that was the most lonely time. Even when I moved from Texas to Tennessee out at Fort Campbell. It was very lonely. I didn't have any friends, long distance phone calls. And at that time, I didn't have a driver's license. My husband took me to get my driver's license because I didn't have a driver's license. And so we found a way. I mean, I made friends with the wives, and so that helped. And they would come get me, and we'd go do things, but it was very lonely. And so when him and Amber get married, it was kind of a rush thing. And his family wasn't very fond of Amber. Body aches. I got a head cold, fever on and off. Oh, Candy Kisses, I'm so sorry. I hope you feel better. And so they didn't really want them to get married. And it was kind of rushed. And of course, they blame Amber's family, her mother, Rhonda. And I want to tell you what, I follow Rhonda and I are friends on Facebook. I sent her a friend's request like a year and a half ago. And I kind of follow her journey, and I follow their pages. And I admire the strength that this woman has. I just do. She is a oh, thank you, Candy Kisses. That is so sweet. I try. It's makeup. Not even gonna kid you. But thank you. And they've been through a lot, and even this is last year, and I'll kind of jump ahead. This last year, her son, which is Amber's younger brother, had an overdose on hydrocodone, oxycontin. Sorry, wrong one. I think it was oxycontin, and they didn't think he was going to live. It was I cried every post. I followed her every day, and she did a journal for it every day, and I just cried with her because she's already, with the stuff that's going on with Amber, and I'm going to give it away. And he pulled through. I mean, the doctors would tell her, there's no hope. There's no hope. And then he would miraculously the next day, Stella, your device is not connected. I think I'm going to have my camera set better. She's trying to come on, guys. And miraculously, he's walking. And they didn't, I mean, he was brain dead for a time, guys. And now he's walking and he's getting his speech back. And it's just an amazing story for her with everything else they've gone through. So anyways, sorry, I jumped ahead. There is Stella. With everything else they've gone through. So anyways, sorry. You have to mute yourself, hon. Stella. Or mute your YouTube in the background. So anyways, sorry. Hi, Christine. Or mute your YouTube in the background.
Yeah?
There you are.
No. Wait, hold on. Wait. Yeah?
There you are. Close out YouTube in the background.
Okay.
Yeah? There you are. Close out.
Okay. Better?
There you go.
Okay. YouTube.
Y'all hear her okay?
Everyone hear me?
I think they can.
Okay. Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm trying to, if I can get my camera on.
I didn't know if you were going to turn it on or not.
All right, let's see. Let's see if that works.
Should be a little thing down at the bottom.
Little thing at the bottom.
It'll say mute, and then there's one. It'll say I'll have Cam. It'll start camera.
I see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi.
How are you? You're not working today.
No, I took off a couple of days.
Oh, how are those new puppies?
Oh my God. Well, I don't know what I was thinking. No, they're so adorable.
Same thing. I think I am too old for this, and then I do it again.
Nah, they're my little joys. They're brother and sister, but she's the boss.
Well, of course.
She rules the roost. It's so nice to see you. Hi, everyone.
You too, honey. And y'all, this is my friend Stella, and this is a breath of fresh air. She is not a part of any of the stuff any of us met through, so she's clueless. So that's fun. A lot of these come from some of the same in the true crime community, and through all the split and the drama that I've kind of shared with you, with all kind of formed friendships. So it's been,
Well, that's how I met you.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And we did nice things together.
Yeah.
So hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. This was a nice surprise.
Yeah, I have been trying to get back on, and I was trying to hold off until I knew what was going on with my back, and then it was like, I just got to do it. I can't keep putting it off, and so I'll just sit here in pain. I may grab the heating pad in a minute and put it behind my back, and
that's
it. Try to focus.
Switch positions. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, and at this point, I'm mad at the doctor. I didn't get to tell you. Some of them know. They wouldn't give me my paperwork to transfer to a different doctor because he had not approved the doctor, and I'm like, kiss my ass. Well, no, I didn't say that. I actually told them they could fuck off, is what I told them. And I said, according to HIPAA, if I ask for my records to be sent somewhere else, they can be sent somewhere else. It's not up to the doctor to decide.
Right.
And he was trying to send me to a doctor 2 hours away. And I'm like, dude, I can't even drive to your Houston office without being in sheer pain. So yeah, I threw a huge fit, big fit, but I have my records.
Well, I just hope you find a solution.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I wanted the steroid shots, and then when they did this, it was diagnostic. So it was like a lidocaine that they went in, and they didn't even go in my spine because you have your spine here, and usually they go like right in this area. Let me get the camera right next to the spine. It was like way over, like on the sides, not even near my spine. And so I don't know what they did other than cause me more pain.
It's terrible. You can't live like that.
It's miserable. Make sure I didn't miss any chat.
You know,
and so you remember this case when we covered it.
This had so many twists and turns that I was unaware of.
And so with them, I read some stuff today. I had found a book and I've been trying to read it. I'm like, holy crap. And I almost put this off again because I'm finding more stuff. And I'm like, I had not heard this. So when they got married, when they went to Alaska, their housing wasn't ready. And they get to Alaska, they're in a hotel, the military puts them up in a hotel.
Right.
And they're fighting. He even broke a TV in the hotel room, throwing a fit, claimed it fell so that they weren't charged. They get into housing, and the neighbors called the cops multiple times. She would leave and go to the neighbor, and they would be dealing with her with bruises on her legs and like her chest, and just constant fighting. And he had been using Oxycontin before and pot, and then got into selling the Oxycontin. That shit goes for $30 a pill. I had no idea.
Yes.
No wonder people are selling it.
Yeah, it's
$30 a pill. That's insane.
Big market.
And then he learned how to make spice, the synthetic marijuana, synthetic margarita. Listen to me. Am I already wanting a margarita?
Well, I guess it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's noon. I mean, lunch margarita. And so he was making that when they were in Alaska. He had ordered everything off eBay. Didn't know that was even possible. The things people come up with, like, I wouldn't think to do this. Just
didn't he have to get like random drug tests because he was in the military, or
sometimes.
Did he have?
And he was in the Air Force, so you would have thought they would have checked it more.
So therefore, if he had a prescription, whatever they tested him for would have showed up, and it would not have been illegal.
Right? Yeah, Michelle, that's a very expensive addiction. I mean, that I can't. I mean, I fight with my insurance to get what little bit they'll give me as it is. And I guess that's happened since then because the opioid addiction has gotten so out of hand that they have made it harder to get meds. But I mean, I'm wondering I don't know what it even costs to actually buy it from the actual pharmacy, but to sell them on the street is $30 a pill. Insane. Mm-hmm. Insane. No wonder people are selling it. I mean, you get your prescription, go make some money. I mean, can't fault them. It's not good. Don't do it. Don't follow those
really
words.
Hard here now. They've got they've really cracked down on a lot of doctors in New York and New Jersey because they were just writing them so freely, and now everything is put through a computer here. I would think it's probably across the United States.
Well, my insurance, my doctor, he's real quick to throw meds at me. And I'm like, I don't want the medications. I'm because I have such a hard time with them anyways. And I mean, the first time they gave me the Tylenol 3s, he wrote 10 days, 3 times a day, 10 days. So 30 pills. The insurance said, no, they'd only do 7. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm not going to take them all anyway. So who the hell's going to take 3 pills a day? Some will. I won't because I don't look what it does to me. 1 bottle of pills and he's got all bills paid. Why work, right? I mean, I agree, Christiane. It's insane. Which he was in the military. They don't make much money, guys, at all. And in the 90s, I think we brought home, and our car note come out of our check, which was like a $240 car note. And every 2 weeks, we had like $246. So $500 a month. There's not a lot of money in it. People think people in the military make big money, and they don't. And they had a new baby on the way. They had found out she was pregnant after they were like a couple months into being in Alaska. But, the pills. And so this next time he said the other day, well, I'll write you some more. And I was like, well, I still have some of the other one. I mean, I don't take them I take it at night when I just cannot sleep, and I'll take it to go to bed. So they wrote me another one. Well, then the insurance approved the 10 days. And I'm like, so you won't approve it the first time, but you approve it the second time.
Makes no sense, right?
Makes no sense. But then as this doctor's just throwing these meds at me, and I looked at him and I said, no wonder there's a problem with opioids in this country, because doctors like you just want to throw meds at people. fix it. Don't give me a Band-Aid. Fix it. You know. And that's the problem, is doctors aren't fixing things. They're just throwing meds at people. So while they're in Alaska, see, y'all, I get on tangents. While they're in Alaska, they're having all these fights. He's manufacturing the drugs. He's selling the pills. He's having them mailed to him from his friend in Oklahoma. I think the guy was in Oklahoma. It was either Texas or Oklahoma, and the guy was mailing him the drugs to sell. So wherever he's getting them from, and the paperwork I have, the names are redacted. I'm like, dang it. But then I wouldn't want to dox anybody. But still, I mean, that needs to be looked into. For one, it's illegal to mail drugs, period. Mm-hmm. And two, it's illegal to sell prescriptions. So that's a big no-no. And Amber finds out she's pregnant. She's super excited. She posts on Facebook about being pregnant. Well, his stepmother, this was something I found today that I had not seen, text him, and she's livid. She's like super pissed off. She how do I find my marked pages?
So he had a stepmother and she had a stepfather. Amber had a stepdad.
Yes.
So both of them came from divorced parents or whatever, biological.
Yes. Yeah. She and his mother, even after this incident happened, she always claimed Amber's innocence and felt that it was just a horrible accident. But this woman, where's the text messages? That's the court dates. I love a good Brandy tangent. They happen. They happen, Thumb Thug. They happen. Well, now I can't find them because this did not mark my messages like I wanted it to. But she just went off on him and was like, I can't believe you let her do this. And she is trying to, evidently a sister-in-law was pregnant and they blamed her on wanting to do it because the sister-in-law was, or trying to hold him down, you know.
That's ridiculous.
And yeah, it is stupid. And she was really, really ugly. And she said, well, good luck, learn how to be like Amber and get that money out of Rhonda. And which is the mother, and was just nasty. Instead of and he was like, I was going to text you when I got off work to tell you. And she was like, yeah, whatever, you know, you've made your bed. And they were just very, very ugly about Amber. They did not like her. She was seen as a hoity-toity rich girl. They took a lot of vacations. She had a boob job when she was, I want to say 16, 17 years old. So she had fake boobs. And here's where that plays in, where people want to judge a woman by her looks. She wore her makeup, she had her jewelry, she had fake boobs, and so automatically she's the bad guy. And that always pisses me off.
A murderer at their finest, right? Really.
And it just, and that's, the family hated her for that. The media hated her for that. And it was just utterly ridiculous. But they were really ugly to him about this pregnancy. And things kept ramping up with them over there. There was a huge fight. The cops were called. That was when he tried to pop her boobs, and he literally was squeezing her breast implants trying to pop them. She was bruised real bad. She had bruises on her legs. He was arrested. The military did a PPO on him. The military operates a little bit differently than civilian life. When they see a problem, they deal with it. It's not like on civilian line, if I'm going to file a PPO, I've got to go to the courthouse, file the paperwork, go to court, see the judge for it to be effective.
Right.
Military says, no, PPO in place. Y'all cannot be near each other. He's in a hotel. She's in the housing. And of course, these two won't leave each other alone. They're texting each other back and forth. And I didn't get real ones until I was 16. Michelle didn't even get real boobs till she was 16. I was in my 20s. It was when I had my kids. So this, I didn't even think to show y'all. Hold on. Let me pull this picture up. I got a few pictures of them I was going to share. Oh, wrong way. So here is them on their wedding day.
They were a beautiful couple.
Just absolutely gorgeous couple.
It makes me so
Here
sad.
they are again.
They're just beautiful.
Just absolutely beautiful. I mean,
Beautiful.
they just, such a waste. Such a waste. Here they are in his uniform. And so, but they won't leave each other alone. And he goes back to the apartment.
Well, of course.
Well, then a neighbor reported him for smoking drugs in the house, and MPs come out and deal with that situation. They do, don't they? Candy Kisses just look absolutely perfect together.
They're beautiful.
It makes me have anxiety, and I don't understand why I don't like being alone. Oh, Candy Kisses, I am really sorry, honey. You're not alone. You may feel that way. They really are. I mean, they are that couple that you all-American couple is what I think of when I look at them. Just striking, gorgeous people. But that just shows you never know what people are going through.
Well, they were also very young.
Very young.
You know,
he was 19, he was 21.
They were babies themselves.
And you know, at that age, you're very on both sides. You're hormonal, you're immature, you're
no family around them.
Right.
They were against all odds.
Right. Well, and at that age, even you are impulsive. Everything you do is big and into the world, and their love is got to be, they have to be there for their love to last, and they can't stand to be away from each other. And they really needed some time away. They really, I think, needed some space. I think they rushed into it.
I think they needed an adult to be there.
They needed some adults to speak some wisdom.
They did. They needed someone there just to guide them a little bit.
And they didn't have it.
And they didn't have it. They were on their own.
Their own families kind of wanted them to just kind of, I can't deal with y'all no more. You're too much.
I mean, she did it the right way. She wanted to be with him. So she moved with him after they got married, of course. And they're alone. They're a young couple starting out. And let's face it, we've all been there.
All been there. I mean, I was young.
I
got married. I had my kids young.
But who do you go running home to? Your mother or your mother-in-law?
Well, and they talk
family members, and everybody helps you get through it, and it's not so terrible. But
right.
I feel so badly because these kids were really on their own.
They were. And they talk a lot about her being moody and her mood swings. And I'm sorry, every 19-year-old woman has a mood swing. We're still trying to learn our bodies, and our bodies are going through weird hormones. And then you add in a pregnancy. I can imagine. Stella looks familiar to me. Was she on panel with you before? Yes, Brittany. When I was on Murder by Design, Stella and I did a few panels together. I wasn't gonna say the name.
It's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, when we were on together, we befriended each other. God,
It's been a year.
It's been a year.
Right at a year. I left about 2 weeks to be a year for me since I left. So yeah. But can you imagine? I remember because I was pregnant with my second daughter at 19, and the hormones, oh good God.
Oh,
and everybody kept calling her a teenager.
We were a little bit different in those days too. In the 80s, we were grown up. I mean, we were allowed to drink at 18 years old.
Right.
So we thought, oh boy, we could get married by 19 or 20 because we're adults. Right. Then they changed the drinking age to 21. So, I don't think that they experienced life as much as we were able to because.
Well, I left home at 15. I've been on my own since I was 15 years old, and so a little bit different experience, but I didn't have the money. I wasn't at all a rich girl. That would have been nice. Would have made things a little bit easier. But, I can remember with my first one, because I was a teenager when I had her, I was 16. And oh God, those hormones, because you have your teenage hormones, plus your pregnancy hormones, and you're crazy. You are. Every woman does.
You're alone. You don't have anyone to guide you. They were alone.
So here she was at 19, and people keep calling her a teenager. Y'all, she's not a teenager. And I've heard that with other people on YouTube. You're an adult at 19. You're a young adult, not a teenager. And so there's a big difference there. And to me, in my opinion, but she still had young hormones, immaturity, kind of a recklessness, and just kind of, I think she was trying to keep her family. She was trying to have an everlasting love. To her, this love was end all be all, and there was no surviving without it. But that happens when you're newly in love, anyways.
Were they childhood sweethearts?
No, they had met when she was 18. They had just
so they only met.
19, yeah.
Okay.
They had met at a party. And originally when I first looked, I thought they were in high school, but no, it was at a party after high school. And she had a 4.0 GPA. I mean, she was
smart girl.
She was smart. She was in FHA. She was in different sports. I mean, she was active and very well liked. Everybody loved her. He was very liked by his peers.
Yes.
The difference is his peers were partiers. They liked to party. That's kind of how he got into the drugs, is they partied and they drank. And she was known to drink. She didn't like marijuana. She had done it a few times, but she had been drinking. But I think at that age, once you move out, everybody does. Hi, Lynn. Thanks for joining us. I know it's been a while, hasn't it? I took a hiatus for health issues. I'm working. Let's see, there's Michelle's.
Oh, I see everyone now. Okay.
I was a working mom and renting a home at 19. I was a whole adult. I mean, at 19, I had 2 kids and we were headed to Germany. And I didn't have a choice. And you want to talk about freak out. I mean, I can imagine Alaska. When they went to Alaska, he wouldn't even let her buy clothes. He wouldn't put her on the bank account. She had no money. And so she was totally isolated. And can you imagine going to Alaska and not having winter clothes? It's cold there. And she's from Oklahoma.
Right.
She tried to adjust to that weather. And I couldn't imagine when we went to Germany trying to figure out clothing for Germany. Even though we had been in Tennessee, I didn't have the proper winter gear. I didn't have proper winter gear. And it was a huge adjustment. And here she is trying to survive. They've got this PPO. He's beat the crap out of her multiple times. Then the military comes in because of the drugs, and they have charged him with manufacturing of narcotics. And he has been discharged from the military for manufacturing. And so what bothers me with him is people like to say he was a military stand-up dude. No, he was not. And there are records of his abuse with her. The abuse, the domestic disputes between them, on top of the manufacturing, is when the military was like, you're out. They don't play. Candy Kisses. I got pregnant at 14, but lost that child. Then I got pregnant at 17 and had her when I was 18. I am very sorry for your loss, Candy Kisses. That is unimaginable. It's a horrible pain.
Yes, it is.
And so they're getting ready to come. His orders haven't come down yet. And with the military, you have to wait for your final orders before they fly the soldier back home. She had her ticket. She was coming home. And she was kind of mad because she wanted this life. She wanted this military life, this family, this adventure, this future. So now he's lost his job. They're going back home. They have no money, no home, nowhere to stay, and a baby on the way. And I cannot imagine that feel. I remember coming home when we got out of the military, and we were honorable discharge because we were just getting out and not knowing what we were going to do. I can't imagine the total, basically, kick to the teeth that what's happening. And she's going upstairs. She'd been outside and was just kind of reminiscing and sad and crying, and dried herself up, goes inside, and he's laying on the couch. And she's like, you're not sleeping in the bed. You're sleeping there. This is ridiculous. And as she's going up the stairs, she kind of does her hands, and it hits a lamp, and the lamp falls over and falls on his head and cuts his ear. So he has to go get stitches. I'm sorry, following.
Such a nice audience here today.
Said there were no lives. Always glad to see here. Yes, thank you, Lynn. I've always appreciated your support. I don't get to go over on the other channels much. There's just so much going on. But and so they go to the ER and they get him stitched up and all this. Well, his family uses this as her abusing him. And now in some of their fights, as they're fighting and bickering, she would kind of push him off as he's coming at her and whatever. So I do think there was some. I think somebody said she threw a shoe at him one time. I mean, I've thrown a shoe at my husband and we are far from abusive. I think she slammed doors one time or something, threw a basket, whatever. And I'm like, I mean, when you're mad, you're fighting, you're going to kind of just throw whatever. I mean, okay. I think with his family and his friends, I struggle because he is a victim. He is a victim in this. And I don't want to victim shame. And so by all means, my heart does go out to his family with this.
Absolutely.
And while I'm thinking about it, true crime community has had a really huge loss.
Yes.
Ellen Killoran from Crime Online, which Stella and I have kind of had some dealings with. She worked with Nancy Grace. She does a lot with Crime Online, and she passed away this week. And so our hearts go out to our true crime family and to her family. She was a doll, and it is just super
so smart and so.
I loved her writing. I just loved her writing.
She was such a gift.
She really was. And so I meant to do that before I got started. And
the world lost a shining star.
She was, yeah. And I still even, have you heard the details of what happened?
No. I just, other than what I've read, what we've all read, doesn't really give any indication.
Yeah. And it's just sad because she's so
beautiful,
huge loss to the true crime community, to the true crime community.
I mean, she was like a god, like God to us. She really was.
Because I mean, we've done some behind the scenes dealings with her with covering cases and things, and so she.
When I read it yesterday, I just was like, "Oh my God!" I got so
upset. And Joseph Scott Morgan's piece on her last night made me cry. I'm sitting there, and Dave's like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "What am I?" He's like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "You know me, I cry over death easily." But when it's somebody you've kind of,
I didn't expect to see that.
Yeah, well, and I didn't know her on a real personal level, but I have done, some dealings with her, and it's just sad because
I've listened to her when she was on different panels, and I just got a kick out of her. She was so smart.
And I loved her with Nancy Grace. Of course, that's one of my heroes. But
she found a nice niche, and she's so young. It was just too young.
Yeah. Oh, Lynn, I'm sorry. The beer virus. I love how people are giving it nicknames now.
The beer virus?
The beer virus. COVID. We're not supposed to say COVID on.
Yeah.
It's the coronavirus, and so
Rona.
The beer virus.
Oh, yeah. Rona.
Yeah, they kind of get ugly with you when you say. I don't know why. Has anybody ever found out why we can't say that on here?
Don't say it.
I mean, and the same with saying the pedo word. You're not supposed to say it. I'm like, I don't know why. It's ridiculous. For dealing with true crime, that's what we're talking about. But sorry. See, look, there you go, Thumb Thug. Another tangent.
Christiane, she was 47.
Yeah.
47 years old.
3 years younger than me. 2 years younger than me. Sorry.
Just
young. Super young.
No,
I agree.
We have to be very careful with the words we use.
Yeah, we should be able to.
Even if we did not even true crime, even if we did Amazon favorites, we would have to be careful.
Yeah, with using it. And it's just weird. I don't know why they police that. I guess it's to keep people from spreading misinformation.
Maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe. I
got this new heating. This look how big that thing is. It's my new heating pad that I ordered, and I love it.
Thank God for that company, let me tell you.
Oh, it's unplugged. Why is it unplugged? Well.
Yep, the algorithms. Yep. Honestly, your computer picks them up also, because if you're talking about something and your computer's off, you turn it on, and then there's the advertisements.
Mm-hmm. Happens on Facebook all the time.
All the time.
Dave and I were just talking about something the other day, and next thing I know, I've had advertisements in my feed. I'm like, that's creepy. Sorry, guys, I have to.
Yeah, we try not. We don't want no doxing, no bullying, none of that. We don't roll that way, ladies.
We were all just
Lynn, I did. I was part of another group, and I left because life got a little crazy last year for me. I had huge personal loss, and it was really hard for me to get back on track after the loss, and so I just kind of laid low for a year, almost a year, and Brandy and I talk about doing things together. We did do the show together. We did talk about this. Was one of the last things we did together, right?
yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Can't believe
And
that's
it's
so long ago. And that, like I told you, blew me out of the water because I had no idea until I read the research on it. And oh man, I
yeah.
just didn't know. And it's just there's so much sadness out there. And like,
It is just awful. But let's see, where
oh
did I
no,
leave?
Lynn, it's not going to trigger me. It was, a member of my family had been sick and passed away, and it happened fast and sudden, and it just took the wind out from my wings. But no, I'm okay. I'm doing okay.
Brittany, I think I paid like $28 for this. It wasn't very expensive, and it's one of those you can throw in the washer real easy. So it's super soft. That's why I wanted it. I wanted where I could lay on it for my back and deal with it. But so they head home, or she heads home. He comes home a week later, I believe it is. They are living with her mother, Rhonda, and immediately they start having issues. His family's being assholes. They're threatening to take his it's 33 inches, Christiane, long. It's huge. It's like whole back. And then but they tell him that he has to file a PPO on her because of a fight that they had. I think they were arguing or whatever, and they want him to file a PPO or they're not going to let him have his trust fund. So they create a PPO and never file, never go to court, never do nothing with it. And then, and her mother states that they joked about doing it just to please his family and thought it was funny. So that just kind of shows there's a lot of tension with the families, and it's sad. And so Rhonda kicks them out because he's selling drugs, and she don't want the drugs in the house. She's got a younger child, and he's already in a lot of trouble, and they're trying to keep him out of trouble. And then you've got this one bringing drugs in, and it just as a no-no.
And she's pregnant. Besides, God forbid he ingested it by accident or
right. And so when they kick them out, and this is what I find funny, and this is one of those privileged things that it doesn't make sense. But I mean, as a mother, I can't say what I would do because I haven't had this situation. But they go to an apartment that Rhonda and her now husband have at the, oh Lord, I don't remember the name of it.
It was that round building.
But this is the building. This is this huge apartment complex that they live in. They live on the 25th floor. And this is in May, middle of May. And so they're fighting. There's text messages between the two of them back and forth. They're going to get a divorce. He's going to leave. She wants him gone. And in these text messages, now he's telling his family and his friends he wants the divorce and he wants to leave. But in the messages, she's the one saying it, and he's the one coming back and saying, but I want to be married to you, and I'm going to fix this, and I'm going to do better, and I don't want to leave. His family tells a different story, but it doesn't fit the text messages. And that's where I start going, oh, stop, hold them accountable. You know what I mean? And he is wanting to go to this concert and sell drugs. He's going to go sell Oxy at the concert. And she didn't have a baby crib. And she's like, well, you can go to the concert when you buy me a baby crib. And he's like, well, I'll get you one after the concert. And she's like, no, I don't have a crib. The baby's coming. She's 7 months pregnant at this point. Baby's coming. I need
to she was big.
And he refuses. He's like, nope, it's not happening. Hi, Missing in Life. I had my comments off, so did I miss anything? Okay.
They want you to do the eyeball roll. Eye roll. Oh, Lord.
Do the eye roll. What eye roll did I do, Lynn? Now that you tell me to, I can't roll my eyes.
Roll my eyes.
Now that you said do it, I can't roll my eyes.
I can't roll my eyes. Oh my gosh.
And, so they're fighting about this crib. She goes to her grandmother's lot. They don't even have money to put gas in the car to get from the apartment to the grandmother's, or like a couple blocks over. They're like broke. And so it's just a very volatile situation. They're fighting, they're bickering. So this day he comes in and she's like, you got to come get your stuff and get out. I'm done. So he's supposed to be leaving. Oh, Lynn was rolling her eyes at the same time I was. And so she is got a laundry basket and she's getting ready to go do laundry, but she's waiting for him to leave. She's telling him she needs the keys back. They're supposed to be giving the keys at some point, and he's trying to get a ride because he didn't have a ride to go anywhere. And she's refusing to take him. She's like, nah, you're leaving, you're out. Bye. And so as they're fighting, the neighbors can hear them. Now, the neighbors hear them screaming, and they're kind of worried. They're thinking it's getting serious. Somebody needs to call 911. Well, she goes in there, and he's put all his clothes in this basket. And she's like, I'm not washing your clothes. Now, get this, guys. He is leaving her. And he wants her to wash his clothes. Okay. It's not happening.
Right.
It's like, what the nerve of this dude? You want me to wash your clothes, but you're leaving, and you want him to buy me a baby crib. Kiss my ass. And so he's throwing a fit. Well, he takes the clothes basket and he throws it, and it breaks this window. Now, mind you, I just showed y'all how big this hotel is, right? Or a hotel, apartment building. And they're on the 25th floor, okay?
They're way up there.
They're way up there.
Way up there.
So on these high-rise buildings, there's supposed to be specialty glass that keeps that from shattering really easy, right? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm going to count them.
So, sorry. They're on the 25th floor. I'll show you where that's at in just a sec. Here's the bedroom. And you can see that window right there. It's broken. That's where he threw the laundry basket, and it breaks that window. They call...
All right, now wait. That window happens to be with a balcony outside of it.
There's
that
their
balcony doesn't go all the way around.
Right. It's just a little part at
part
the
of the way.
Right.
For you ladies watching, it's just part of the way.
And so they call the maintenance guy, and she's pissed. She's like, we're going to have to pay for this, or you're going to have to pay for this because my mom's not paying for this. And so the maintenance guy comes in, and he tells him it's probably about $150 for the window. And he's doing the measurements, and he's out there. She's cleaned up all the glass, and he's working on this window. Well, he hears them screaming and hollering and fighting. Well, at this point, here's the living room.
Okay, now look at this. Look at those windows.
There's
no balcony.
There's no balcony there.
Outside of it.
The maintenance guy is now worried. He's now thinking, I'm fixing to have to go in there. This guy, Josh, was 6'2", 6'5", 200 something pounds. He was a big dude. He was a foot taller than she was. The maintenance guy is fairly short. So he's thinking, well, this dude outweighs me. He's bigger than me. I have to go. He's like mentally preparing himself to go confront this dude that's attacking her because he can hear the fight going. And he hears him shove her. Well, she shoves him. Those candles on the left side of the screen, you can see the tall candlesticks. Mm-hmm. He was grabbing one of those. Why he's grabbing one of those, I don't know. We won't know. he has already grabbed her. There's pictures of her, and I couldn't find them, but the lawyer talks about she has fingerprints like on her back where there's some scratches where he was
her
beating
shoulders,
her
on the back of her shoulders or the front of her, like
right.
grabbed her.
And so when she shoves him off, he stumbles, he hits this window and flies out the window.
He went out. He went headlong.
Where that arrow is where their apartment is. He falls 17 floors to that platform
above the parking lot there.
Yes. See, I have another picture where it shows. Here is the window that he fell out of.
Come on.
So, where is that other picture? Did I not? You can see here as you look down, that down there is the parking garage where he lands. Here is his bag that's packed. He's leaving, This is him down here. There's the parking platform. That is where his body is at.
Now she runs out after she realizes what happened.
She goes out there. The maintenance guy hears her screaming and hollering, and he's coming out thinking it's her that something has happened to. And he goes out there. Catch up on comments. Yeah, I don't think I could after this story, Michelle. I couldn't live this high. Because these windows are supposed to be special windows. They're supposed to be
hurricane weather proof.
Right, a special type of glass. This glass was typical window glass, like you would have in a house.
They're supposed to be triple. The higher you go, they're supposed to be thicker. So the winds and the elements don't blow them in or out. Especially, this was in Texas, right?
Oklahoma. A lot of winds. It's very windy there. When you have a curved building there, and I don't know the science stuff with this. I am not a science person. I did good to pass science, just saying. But there's a wind shear that happens around that curved building. And so when you push on that glass, it's like a suction cup that sucks you out. And so these windows were 50 years old. They had not been changed in 50 years.
50 years. They were so thin.
Did not pass inspection. The apartment building was fined for these windows. And the family, Josh's family, did sue. I mean, he lands 17 floors at 75 miles per hour. He was mangled. In the interview, she's talking about, I mean, his body was bent backwards and nothing was in the direction it was supposed to go. He was just a pretzel. And she's trying to pick him up and hold him and comfort him. And I mean, 75 miles an hour.
Kelly is out to here. She's pregnant. She didn't even realize. I'm sorry. The reaction when we all saw of her.
She was already throwing up during the fighting in the bathroom. When she goes out and she's trying to deal with this, she starts throwing up. She's crying. There are 20 plus witnesses all say the same thing. They all say she was total chaos, freaking out, sick. She passed out at one point. Now, his stepmother, which is the one I talked about a while ago with the horrible messages about her being pregnant, immediately hits the media. They didn't go down there. They were never at the scene. Hits the media that she was not distraught, that she didn't cry, that she showed no emotion, that she was a cold, calculated killer. She did this on person. I'm sorry. If you're living in an apartment complex, you expect those windows to be sturdy the proper way. You just automatically assume that they're doing the right thing by these to make sure you're safe. What if that had been a child playing and hit that window? Kids roughhousing, you know how kids are, pillow fighting, and they hit that window. And that would have been a good fly.
Honestly, even if she pushed him, his size against her size and her being pregnant, he lost his footing and went through.
They were like, "There's no way
There's no way
him to go through that window."
No way.
Did she shove him? Yes.
Yeah,
did
he lost his footing.
His feet hit that window and fall out? Absolutely. And I like what
he might have been top heavy. Look at with Christopher Reeve. That's
right.
Had he not been so tall and riding that horse, he would have never had that kind of head injury. He wouldn't
Right.
have broken that. He was too tall to ride that horse, and he went headlong and went into that tree.
Right.
It's sort of the same.
And they talk about his body weight and being so tall, and when she shoved him and him tripping over his feet and hitting that window. Well, then when you have that wind shear and that window's given out, it's like a vacuum.
Sucked him out.
And it was a horrible, horrible accident. And like how Dr. Phil put it, he said, had you not been fighting, this wouldn't have happened. Had you not shoved him, he was trying to make her take accountability, because she kept trying to say, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it. You have to take accountability on your actions caused something bad to happen. And then you have her in the interrogation room. See, Christiane, and I really wish the parents would have thought of that. And I don't know. I don't guess we think about that much.
They're one family. They're not going to, if
I mean, I guess you would
pay an association fee.
Now I would be going, okay, I need to know, are these
now you want to see those, but at that
now
time,
I'd be going, now I know what to look for. Before I knew this case,
never thought of it.
I would have just assumed it was okay. And so, and I thought about trying
we
to.
We don't know how long they had owned it for. It was probably they rented it out. I don't think they used it for themselves.
No, it was just kind of a second place that they had. And I mean, I don't. Brandy, do you know if this was the only apartment they could afford since they were broke?
Well,
they had this for free.
Her parents.
This was her mother's and stepfather's apartment, Lynn. So yeah, she was moving out. She was going to live with her grandmother, and he was going to live with, I guess, his dad at this point, because they needed separation. These two were so toxic. They needed to be away from each other to cool down and work on themselves. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think Josh was ready to be a dad. I think he was partying. I think he wanted to be a 22, 23-year-old man, living life, doing his thing. No, it's fine, Lynn. You're fine. I don't think he was a bad guy. Please understand. I don't want anybody to think I think that. I think that he was addicted to substances that were changing his behavior and his personality. And I wish his family would acknowledge that. That's where I struggle with how they treat her, because I don't. She was wrong with what happened, but so was he. They both played a really big part in how this went down. And the whole time, guys, she has always said, I pushed him. I did this. Oh my God, it's my fault. In the interrogation room, they have not read her rights. And this is where I struggle with how they did this case. Her grandmother is in this, they take her to the police station. 2011. Right? Yes. 2011, 2011, because she was trying in 2013. So yeah,
trying to pull up some things on her so we.
Yeah, I meant to have my years up, but I didn't have it.
I got it. It's hard.
And so while she's in this little interrogation room, Grandma's in there. They have not read her rights. They're waiting for the detectives. It's all automatically. That's what they do. So they take them to the police station and they just get the statements. And the whole time they're in there, they're recording Grandma and Amber's conversation.
Yes.
They were never told the cameras were on. There was no flashing light. It looked like, you know how when you have cable on the walls and there's the black faceplate and there's like the little piece for the USB cable, the cable to go through? That's what it looked like. And it was a camera. And so the whole time they're recording this conversation, they know nothing about it. And Grandma keeps telling her, you don't say a word without an attorney. You get an attorney. Do not give them your name. Do not give them anything till you have an attorney. Mom's getting an attorney. Shut up. And Grandma keeps telling her, stop saying that. Because she's just, and she would be on the way of a sentence and then just stop and like stare and go off into the other sentence. And Grandma would try to say something and then she would just start talking. And she was in total shock the whole time. And
she was in shock.
She was. And it just, the whole time she's like, poor Levi. I took his daddy away and now I'm going to prison. He's not even going to have his mama. You know, she was devastated at what was happening to her baby. And they come in there and they're getting their information and she's like, I can't talk to you without an attorney. And it's like, okay. And they respected that. They didn't try to have any more conversation, but they sure used that video footage. And I think that's wrong. I don't think that that should have been allowed in court. Had it been an attorney in there, they would have had to not use, I think they would have had to respect the attorney-client privilege, but it was grandma. But I think that, I don't know. I mean, I guess we're supposed to automatically assume we're being recorded when we go into interrogation. And they kept telling her, when grandma would tell her, don't say anything, she was like, but grandma, that makes me look guilty. That makes me look like I did this on purpose. And to her, she trusted the system. She trusted law enforcement. She wanted to do what she felt was right. And I feel that way too. I'm always about, I don't have anything to hide. Why do I need to hide anything? But then I listen to Dr. Phil, and I know a lot of people don't like Dr. Phil, but he has some good things because he's like, don't take their water. He says, if you get their water, you don't give them the bottle back. You don't give them the can. You don't eat nothing. You don't touch nothing. And you say nothing until you have an attorney. And he's like, and I don't care if you were just a witness. You just don't. Right. Because anything you say can be used against you. And it's little things that can trip you up. And it's what they do. It's their job. It's how they get the criminals. And they were going to, Christiane is a worry wart. I am so not Christiane. I am that mom that's just kind of like, is it hanging on by skin? Do we need to go get stitches? Or no, you're fine. Put Band-Aid on it. Go on. I am so not the worry wart mom. I have no germaphobe, no nothing. My youngest, he's 25. My best friend had twins that were 2 weeks older. And so when they were playing, they would like swap their passies. So we were notorious everybody be free. I'm like, they were just sucking on the other one's toes. Who cares, you know? And so we would sit down with a jar of baby food with one spoon and just all three. And then people would be freaking out. And I'm like, guys, they literally swap passies. I mean, they're sucking on noses and they were triplets. It's fine. And so I am so not the mom that panics. I am not. I probably should take a little more worrying to heart, but I don't. I just don't. But then,
it was your eye roll. You just did your eye roll.
It happens by accident. I can't even help it.
Uh-oh.
Then when I try to do it, I look like I'm having.
Oh, you couldn't do it before, but you just did it. Go back to the camera. Instant replay.
It does. It's bad. And that's that Southern sass going, guys. And so they do stop the interview. And I guess it's when the attorney gets there or something. Or not the interview, the tape. There's no more video of that. It's like a little over an hour. But right. It just, watching that, and here's where it falls in. People are like, one time they're going, well, they were too emotional. And then they go, well, then this person was not emotional enough. Or this one didn't say what they thought they should. And so when is too much emotion and when is it not? And when I watch her, I really feel like she was totally distraught with what happened.
She was.
They were fighting. And those of us that have been married, we know we have arguments. It happens. In the heat of the moment, things are said, things happen. You might throw the shoe, throw the laundry basket. And a
laundry basket.
He threw a
laundry basket and broke the window.
Yeah. That'll tell you what a body's going to do when it hits the window.
That'll tell you how bad those windows are.
Yeah.
Right.
And Christy Ann's daughter does really cool bow and arrow competition or artsy kind of things. Like she stands on her hands and shoots her bow and arrow with her feet. It's really the coolest stuff. Her daughter cracks me up. She's been on TV. It's really cool.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I have slammed my cabinet doors. Now, I do know that when I have done something in a fit, and let's just face it, I'm Southern, we have fits, I have felt bad. It's like, God, I should have done that. And thank God nobody's ever been seriously hurt when it's happened, you know. Um, and so I can just imagine this fear that she had going on. She
But
is
she's
now
also had to
responsible for,
protect her baby.
right. She is now
Let's not
responsible for her
forget she's
baby not having a
7 months
daddy,
pregnant.
for this other family. And she talks about his family a lot. That I took him from them. Oh my God. So she owns it a lot. And they use all of this against her in court. So they offered her 2 plea deals. I originally thought it was just one. The first one was 5 years, but she had to take all of the guilt. She denied it. They came back with the second one for 7 years, and she refused again because she didn't want to take the guilt. She should have taken it.
Should have taken it.
She should have taken it. They would not allow the domestic dispute, domestic violence things brought into court. There was a lot of fight with that, and that is something I'm reading up on now, is how that went down and what exactly it was. And so I'm gonna have to finish reading that. And I wish I'd have found this book sooner, because I'm getting there. It's not a real big book, but the media with the family, the stepmother mainly, she was a ringleader in a lot of this, that talked about how awful Amber was and all the things that she did wrong, and she was abusive, and she was this and she was that. Well, I'm sorry, but there is a record of Josh being abusive. There is a long record of reports. It finally got to where the MPs weren't even filing them in Alaska.
No,
they weren't
Lynn,
even filing
they didn't
anymore.
allow any of the domestic violence to be brought in. None of the things that happened in Alaska, none of it was brought in.
If she would have brought, really, Molly wants to bark now. If she would have brought in his and they could have brought hers, and her attorneys were worried that would do more damage, I think they should have brought it. I think that the paperwork for his, but his family kept trying to call him this war hero and his military honor thing. He was dishonorably discharged for misconduct for drug manufacturing. Give me a break. People use that for his benefit. And I'm sorry, he is just as much responsible for what happened to him as what she did. And I hate to say that, because I don't want to sound like I'm victim shaming, because I'm not. But he had a role here in what happened. Molly.
And also now, remember, she's got these impending murder charges on her. She's due to give birth to the baby any minute, a couple of months. So everything was put on hold.
Yeah.
And trial and all.
Now, they do let her out on bail.
Right, she could go have the baby.
She got in trouble for not keeping her ankle monitor charged. I think that happened several times, so she was in trouble for that. She did test positive for marijuana and alcohol.
While she was pregnant or after?
She had already had Levi.
She already had the baby. Okay.
And so, and I understand her using. I understand smoking some weed. I understand the drinking. At this point, she is trying to deal with life.
Yeah, but when you're under house arrest, you never know when they're going to come in and
you got to be careful.
You have to be careful. I wouldn't say that. Yeah, we understand things. That's if you're maybe not under house arrest or on
not facing second-degree murder, because they were the family wanted them to go to first-degree murder when they brought.
You just said she didn't even like to smoke marijuana before.
Well, and this is where I get frustrated, and there are times I agree with prosecution, the DA going to the family to get permission on what they want. What kind of charges? Are you okay if we do this? Are you okay if we offer this deal? And the family wanted them to go with first-degree murder, but they would have to improve intent. And they didn't feel they could do that. So that was kind of thrown out. They stayed with second-degree murder. And like I said, they offered her the 2 pleas, and she didn't take them. And that is that blind trust in this system, where you think the system's going to save you, that the good guy always wins and the truth comes out.
I also thought maybe she should have had a trial with just the judge and not a jury.
Well, here's the thing. Her family wanted, and I wrote this one down because this got me. Her family wanted her to fire her attorney and get her a new attorney, and she refused because this attorney kept telling her, when I read what happened, you'll understand. I understand where you're at. Nobody's going to understand this better than me. So I wrote down inadequate defense. Family wanted him fired. The defense attorney would later be disbarred. He was disbarred after receiving and accepting $1.4 million in gifts, including also allowing a minor to drink alcohol in his residence and having inappropriate acts with that minor. And he was charged with obstructing and having physical control of a vehicle while under the influence.
So why didn't she get a retrial?
That's what they were working on. That's what they were working on. So the jury came back and gave her 25 years. Molly, get down from there. Her mother and stepfather have custody of Levi. Now they have gone through the court. There is a permanent order against Josh's family. They can have no contact with Levi because they could not have Levi without being horrible about Amber. And for that child's benefit, he needed people to be respectful to both his parents. What Rhonda does with him, she tells him all the good things about his daddy. She does not talk about the negative with him.
No.
And Levi used to tell people that his mama was a princess and so beautiful that she had to be in this big building with guards. And that's how he looked at the prison. And that to me just tells you
just out of the mouths of Babe
how they talked with him to help him understand why his mama was in prison. She saw him weekly. And the other thing with this prison, I don't know what kind of prison she was in, but they had curling irons and makeup. Like most of the prisons, they will take the candies and do the lipstick or crayons and or whatever to get their eyeshadows.
Use no. rollers or something.
No, bitch had curling irons and real makeup.
I don't think it was a high security prison.
Yeah, it was just a woman's.
It was in a woman's prison, but the wing or whatever she was on was probably.
And
they knew that this girl is not a threat to anyone.
Right, and they all say there were prisoners in there that said she didn't belong here. She wasn't a hardened criminal. She had no idea.
I can't talk about this.
Yeah, it gets you every time. It does.
Every time.
But
it's the same spot.
She didn't know. She didn't know how to be real life. You know, she didn't know how to be hardened criminal, and she's now put into place with women who are hardened criminals. And she struggled. She really struggled, and she developed a friend, and she did call her girlfriend. That I'm pretty because this woman was a big girl.
Well, I think you have to have a girlfriend, or
yeah, and a lot of them do gay for this day. It happens.
It doesn't mean that that's your preference, but what are you going to do?
Right, it's company. It's somebody.
But you also need someone to have your back.
Right, and they talk about that Amber didn't fit, and Amber struggled with that. Girls were mean to her because she was
a girly girl.
And the media going into her trial played this. She dressed down for court one day, and they talked about her not taking it serious. She dressed up the next day. They talked about her being hoity-toity.
Look at her having her Chanel bags. Look at her with all her makeup. She went and got a blowout.
Right. She couldn't win for losing. And they talked about her boobs. And this is where I struggle with a lot of these cases with women is it is not okay to judge it on their looks. Their behavior, their attitude is one thing.
To Darlie,
but just because she likes to have her hair done and has fake boobs does not mean she's a killer.
That's what they did to Darlie.
They did that with Darlie, and it pisses me off. And
this was a little girl. She was only 19 or 20. And
at this point, she's 20 years old, 21, fixing to be 21. I think at court she was 21, I believe. And she's in prison now. These women don't like her, most of them, because they're picking on her. You know how a new kid on the block, they're going to pick on you. And then, survival of the fittest. So she's the weakest. They're going to pick on her. So what happens with this is, and this is where most people think she's gone to prison. She's serving 25 years. It's over. Not in this case.
Not by a long shot.
In 2016, she was found in her cell hanging by a curling iron cord. There were bruises and scratches on her neck, bruising on her chin that we know of. That's just some of what we know. This happened around a time when they were supposed to be out in the social area. So there's a little bit of skepticism as to why she was in a cell. And they had a phone call. They first had a phone call and it just said she's dead.
To the mother,
to Rhonda. So they couldn't even figure out what was going on.
They didn't know what she was talking
couldn't
about.
get the prison to answer them, couldn't figure anything out. They get another phone call after they finally figure out what's going on. They want to hire a separate doctor to be in while they do the autopsy, to have a second opinion that is not related to the prison, to the system, to the Oklahoma, to nothing. This separate doctor, and they were denied. And the reasoning for that is, well, nobody wants somebody looking over their shoulder while they're doing their work. What do you have to hide? I don't think they should have ever been denied that. I think they should have been given that right.
Or have this a separate time. Let the
right. If they were paying
medical
for
examiner do it, and then give the body, release the body.
And that was denied. And with that being denied, there's a lot of questions. So later on, they get a phone call from the prison. They don't know who it is. And it just says, you need to investigate.
Oh,
she didn't kill herself.
I'm busted up. I can't even talk about
it. Amber had been planning things with Levi. She was very involved with what he did, like costumes and what he was going to do for the summer. She helped him plan everything, even in prison. And she had just written a letter to the local news station to grant an interview. Her attorney had some good news on getting her appeals done. There was progress in her case. And she had just told somebody, I am going to die trying to get out of here. She was never going to give up fighting to get out of jail. And, sinus, we have got pollen like crazy here. It's killing my throat. And one of the inmates wrote and said that they knew of a person, and those emails have been removed, and I knew I should have saved them because they were on a site, and she was a friend of hers, and she knew the person, named the person that was after her and that was allowed to go in and kill her. And she had meth in her system. Their claims are the prison allows the meth to happen because it keeps everybody in line. And it doesn't make sense, Lynn, at all. I don't understand the curling iron because most prisons do not allow you to have shoelaces, let alone a curling iron. That makes me scratch my head. I don't understand it. Makes no sense. It's a red flag. Thank you, Steph. And it is mind-boggling to me. A lot of the prisoners, there were some
Was
prisoners.
it her curling iron?
They never said. I would think because her hair was long and she would curl it. Oh, but
we know it was her.
Somebody who commits suicide isn't making plans for the future.
They're not usually, women don't usually hang themselves either.
Right. I mean, if she's using meth, why wouldn't she take an overdose of drugs? Mm-hmm. Women tend to take a pill or slit a wrist.
They don't want their face to be.
Right. And I'm still trying to figure out how she got a cord to her neck and in the thing and climbed up. And how does that happen? None of that fits. It doesn't fit. And you cannot put a round peg in a square hole and it doesn't fit.
I wouldn't want her son to remember her or to see those pictures. She just doesn't make sense to me.
And
That never made sense to me.
It just doesn't. The whole time I'm going, people who commit suicide aren't making plans.
No.
They're just not.
Mm-mm.
She was excited for the direction in her case. She had only been in prison a few years.
That's right. Missing in life, curling iron cords, because there's laws. There's,
right. They're like, what, 2, 3
3 feet,
foot?
maybe. I think 3 feet they're allowed to be because for that reason.
So how did she? And I've taken my curling iron since I've looked at this case so many times and
You're
gone
trying to
and trying to figure out how. And I'm like, it just doesn't work.
doesn't work.
It doesn't make sense to me. And I'm mad because I feel like the system could have done better. I think they failed her because they just labeled her a murderer. Yes, she's a murderer. Her actions caused a death. But so do our actions.
Know that his actions would not have caused her death.
Right.
And the death of her baby. If she went out the window, maybe she fought with all of her. I'm sorry.
It just, I feel, to me, in my opinion, I think that because of her status, because her family came every week, she had money. There was always money on the books.
Always money in the commissary.
Considered a princess. I think there was some animosity in the prisoners and some jealousy. And in my opinion, I think that's what happened. And sadly, Levi has to grow up without his mother and his father. And that little boy, God, he is so gorgeous. Beautiful kid.
Going on 12, right? He's about 11 now?
Something like that. Rhonda talks about him being just like Josh. And she was like, he is tenacious. He is full of mischief. He is got the smile like his daddy. He now has siblings because they have custody of some other children. So he does have siblings there, but he has nothing to do with Josh's family. Nothing at all. And that's in a court order because of their treatment.
Yeah.
Josh's real mother has always said this was never
clean. She keeps it. She says that she's not nasty or fresh about it.
Right.
Speaking of Josh, but you don't know what they're liable to do, especially the stepmother. She can't seem to shut her mouth.
Right.
She's liable to try to poison his mind.
And Josh's mother was all on Amber's side, and she, I believe, passed away. But she kept saying this was just a horrible accident. It's just a horrible, and that it was a horrible accident. In my opinion, the apartment was its fault. And I think more should have been done there. There was a civil suit that's sealed up. I could have paid, but I wasn't paying $30 to find out. I figured it wasn't that important. It just shows that there's a civil suit. And there's probably another link I could pull up to find it. But, Levi has to deal with the media. And this is where even in what we do here, we should always be very careful with what we say. Because in this case, we've got a small child who has lost his parents, who at some point is going to be on YouTube and see his mama's name and go to look up and then hear all of these horrible things about his mama and his daddy. And I think there was help. I think that Josh and Amber could have fixed this. I think they could have either gone their separate ways or gotten more counseling and gotten help. My mind is spinning, so I am thinking every way. Could a female prison guard have been jealous of her? Or if she didn't do something to a male prison guard, just speculation. Absolutely, Lynn.
We'll never
All of that is a possibility. And we'll never know because they never did a thorough investigation. And I'm sorry, you just don't
wash their hands of it.
They did. It was like, she's another one out, bring the next one in kind of thing.
Like when you and I did this last year, I had no idea. And here I was just going to research and I went, oh my God, I didn't know that she passed away. And oh my God. I mean, how much heartache can one family take?
Well, and Levi has read things and seen things in the media already. And he did this little activity at school where he talks about what the media is saying about his mother. And it's heartbreaking to see this little boy's words on paper and the drawings. And it in all of this, I think Levi is what breaks my heart the most.
Of course.
Because this toxic situation, and he paid the ultimate price.
And be realistic
I
here.
mean, these
Both of these
parents and
kids,
these siblings
they
have
were
lost their
somebody's children too. The mother and
right.
the father were
Right.
children.
Josh and Amber's both their parents have lost their child.
They've
Their
lost a
siblings have lost
child.
their
I mean,
sibling.
this is just
Friends have lost their best friends. But Levi has lost both
both
parents to a
parents
very
and
toxic
a set of
situation.
grandparents, and it's like just
And so, and now, like I was talking about earlier, Rhonda is still dealing with her son with an overdose and nearly dying. And Adam, oh, my heart broke for him. I mean, there were days to where I was just knew the next post was going to be he had passed, because they gave him zero chance, zero. They had like a 14-day limit, and the doctor was like, if it's not doing this by 14 days, then we need to seriously look at pulling the plug. And at 14 days, he still wasn't doing it. She's like, I can't do it yet. I don't feel like it's time. Next day, he's moving his eyes and he's trying to say words, and it was every day. One afternoon
did
it
he
would be
come out
bad,
of
and
it?
then by evening he would be up,
Did
And
he come
he's
out
now
of
walking.
it?
Yes, he's walking. He's walking with assistance. Now he has to have some help. He's getting his verbal back. It's slow, but he's going into rehab, a physical rehab now. So I look at this mother, and she's got it's called Hot Works. I guess it's a gym. They're in Oklahoma, and she has kept a smile on her face, even in tears. She has stayed positive. Even through this, they talk about what Josh did, which is paperwork, the abuse, the drug selling, the use. But they've never been ugly. And really? Cats are into everything. Josh's family, or Josh's brother, when Amber died, went on Facebook and made a post about ha, the witch is dead, or ding dong, the witch is dead. And we're saying these horrible things about Amber. And it's like this lady that runs the page went over there and was like, dude, Levi is going to see this someday. That's not okay. Stop it.
Not cool.
And no matter what you feel about her, still Levi's mother.
That's right.
And Levi needs to be held at more important. And it just, this is just a sad story. And so what I have to say to people is, whether you're young or old, if you're in a relationship where there's constant fighting and bickering, seek help.
Seek help.
Get
out.
Get some separation. Get some space.
Or if you
do what you need to do to grow. Don't stay, because time and time again we cover these cases where there was a toxic relationship that explodes and somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, find your safe haven.
That's right. And the thing is a murder doesn't just affect those two people. There is a ripple effect that affects so many people. And in this, now you have these families pitted against each other, this whole dynamic in complete opposite of the spectrum of who did what and what did and this and that. And it ruined lives because you couldn't get control. And so if you're in that kind of situation, please, God, seek help.
There's people that will help you.
If you can't find it, email me. My email is in my description, and I will help you find the resources. Wow. It just, the opinion of who passed away, keep it to yourself. The opinion, right? I mean, talk to your family if you're pissed off that you're excited that she died. I mean, we've said that a lot in some of our group chats. We're like, there's things we say privately because we're just getting it out that we would never say publicly because it's not okay, and those things are used against us. And
breaks me in a million pieces.
I mean, there's a lot of things I tell my husband I would never want said publicly, because we do rejoice in some things that we probably shouldn't. And I have a friend, she went to school with my husband, and her sister was killed, but she was a little bit older than them, and she was murdered. And that murderer, we know that he committed several other murders, and they could never prove it. Of course, this was in the 80s, so it was just really hard to prove things. And we fought every time he came up for parole. We were all writing letters and doing things online, and she would go to every parole hearing. And he died last year of Rona. And it's one of those things to where you're super excited that you don't have to do another parole hearing. You're
For
super
20
excited
years.
that you don't have to, because when he got out on parole for Lisa's, he committed another murder.
Oh,
And this girl didn't have any family. Her family had all pretty much died off, so there was nobody fighting. And every time he got out, something happened. And so this was a bad dude. And so privately, we celebrated that, because it was like, finally, there's some peace. But I wouldn't want to do that, and that's why I'm not saying his name, because I wouldn't want to do that publicly, because he might have family, and I don't want to hurt them.
yeah.
But he was a bad dude. And so, and that's with this one. You know, there's a child involved that his whole life from before he was born was exploded.
Oof.
and gone in a direction that was not okay and meant to be. And so it's just sad. It's just so very sad. And so, but that is Amber Hilberling, guys. And
Oh, well, I want to
it is a story that touches me, because I think that her image was what got her there. And I think that the system failed, and it's frustrating, because it's a system
one is
I
more
believe in.
outspoken than I am.
Well, it's a system that I believe in. And, you know, and we have all these officers that we talk to, and these detectives that we've worked with over the couple of years. And I support them 100%. And I listen to their stories, and I'm like, absolutely. I've got cop friends here in town, and I'm back the blue. And then they do stupid shit, and I'm like, ugh, you hurt everybody. And so then I get on here, and I'm like, here's the perfect case where the system failed, and it failed both. You know, they didn't enforce these PPOs, and the military kind of like, we're just going to kick you out, so we don't have to deal with it no more. They didn't do their part.
Now, say it were reversed, and God forbid something happened to Amber, and they took Josh to court, and he didn't win. He would have been found acquitted. Then the family could have taken him to the Army court, to the military court.
Right. Had something seriously happened in the military.
So most a military person has 2 shots of getting convicted. If not in the regular court system,
especially if it would have happened on base,
right,
then it becomes a totally different crime.
Right.
And it's their own laws. I mean, my husband got a DUI, and this was so long ago, on a military base. They put him in jail with the murderers. He wasn't in the drunk tank. He was in, because it was on military base, and it's viewed totally different. And God, this was
thank you for your sweet and kind words. Thanks, everyone.
Lynn is such a sweetheart.
I
appreciate that. And I'm trying to do cases, Lynn, that most people aren't talking a lot about. I didn't cover Gabby because so many were covering it. And I've said this a lot with people. I don't like covering Summer Wells. I don't want to cover the cases that they're working on, because I don't want to be responsible for saying something, or somebody in the chat say something, and it's taken as fact.
Change the course of
it affects an investigation. And I would never, as much as I love talking about Delphi, it scares me to talk about it, because I don't. And I have had the guy that says it's his dad message me. I mean, he messaged me in Fancy like crazy.
I remember that.
I mean, we were getting weird videos, and it was like, dude.
No, they do need attention, those cases, to keep it on the front burner, but they're not.
Right. And so talking about the new things that they're sharing is one thing. It bothers me. It bothers me. And like, I hear people talk things about Summer Wells, and I'm like, you don't even know that.
No.
We have no idea. I mean, here's the sad thing, guys. We don't even know if that little girl is dead. She could have been taken in sex trafficking. We don't know. We know nothing about the case, because there's no evidence. And so I have to run. Come on. Bye, Missing Alive. Have a good one. Must be Lala.
I'm going to head off myself at this moment. I want to thank
you for joining me. I don't know which one I'm covering next. Well, I know I was planning on coming on Friday and talking about, I think Brittany's coming with me. We're going to talk about the rise in teen violence.
Mm-hmm. It's
We've
getting
had
bad.
several here this last week that I'm like, I want to talk about it. So,
Me too. So
I
those are
think
the
that's
good topics.
I think that's something we're going to talk about Friday. I don't know what I'm going to talk about next week. I need to talk
Oh,
Haley.
Lynn, we're gonna do more lives together. I promise.
Oh yeah, she has already said she's wanting to come back some.
I
So
want to come back. Absolutely.
she has a work schedule I have to work around. So
I can do nighttime. I can do nights now, so
okay,
I can work with you on nights in the
all right.
evening. Yeah. So
So
thank you
all
so
righty, guys. Well, I am going to hop
much. I
off
love you.
too, and
Thank
time
you
to
for.
lay back. And if y'all could see this little dog, I have a heating blanket
I
over
have
here. And she's trying to get the heating blanket.
because he wants to lie on it and rest because it's warm.
Molly, go get your big blanket. She has 4 blankets on the floor. 4. And she wants this one. Go get your blanket.
Such a pleasure. It was like old times, and I love
But
you.
anyways, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up.
Yes,
And
yes,
I will
please.
see
But I
y'all.
promise, and we are going to do more lives together.
Love you, girl.
Bye.
Alrighty, guys. Chat. Y'all have a good one. And play nice on the YouTube streets.
Bye-bye.